ever official Q&A on this channel. I'm honestly just really behind on videos and needed something little fun, different to sprinkle in here while I'm in the midst of working on sale orders that I could quickly film, quickly edit, and get up for you guys. So here we are. I did ask for questions over on Instagram. If you have any further questions or anything you think of while you're watching this, drop them down below and I will screenshot them, and then maybe we'll do this again in the future if you guys like it. But with that being said, I basically want to preface this where if I look hot and sweaty and gross, I am. Chris and I just went for a walk. It is about 1,000 degrees outside, so I'm a little bit roasty toasty. I've been bustling around the house all day, getting ready for game night. I just made a dip. Then after this, we're gonna have to pull foil. But with that being said, we are just going to jump on into it. I said anything goes. If you have small business questions, Disney questions, board game questions, D&D questions, you name it, personal lifestyle, I got you. So our first couple of questions here are from _Marissa.J__. And her first question is my Disney World park rating. So if you've never been to Disney World in Florida before, because that's where Disney World is, there are 4 parks. There is Magic Kingdom, that's one with, you know, Cinderella's big old castle. There is Animal Kingdom, which has like the big tree of life. It's like the landmark of the park. There is Hollywood Studios with the Tower of Terror and the Chinese Theater. And there's Epcot with the Epcot Ball. My ranking. My #1 favorite park, and this is always subject to change, especially with all of the like expansions that are going on right now. Things could change, but my #1 favorite park is Magic Kingdom. There is just something to me personally that is so special and so magical when you walk in and you see that big castle down the way with all the shops down Main Street, people holding the big bouquets of balloons. It's just, it like takes your breath away every time, no matter how many times you've been there. And though like it doesn't have like the most thrilling attractions, it's just like, it's the most magical place on earth, period. My favorite ride in all of Disney World is also the People Mover, which is, if you don't know, it's basically like a Lazy Susan but on land. It is a slow moving like cart that you get in, and it like just takes you all around Tomorrowland, because there also is like a bunch of different lands within Magic Kingdom. So Magic Kingdom's always my #1, my favorite. I'll give you some of my favorite things at each park. My favorite ride at Magic Kingdom is for sure the People Mover. My favorite sit down restaurant at Magic Kingdom is Liberty Tree Tavern, because their salad is so good. And my favorite like quick service snack at Magic Kingdom is the corn dog nuggets at Casey's Corner. I don't want to talk about the fact that I don't like hot dogs. There are turkey dogs in the corn dog nuggets to make them more widely, for different, like, what's the word I'm looking for? For different dietary needs, turkey works the best, so they are turkey. And they're just delicious, and I have no further questions on that. My second and third, it really, favorites, this one is hard. Also, I do have all of my ears over here. If you guys are ever interested in like a Disney ears collection video, let me know, because I could do that as well. But my second favorite and third favorite, these ones kind of flip-flop, if I'm being honest with you, because for Epcot, let's start with my least favorite. My least favorite is Animal Kingdom, which I feel like is typically people's either least favorite or #1 favorite. And for me, it is my least favorite. If somebody's going to Disney World, I don't recommend going there for a couple of reasons. One, especially right now, there's little to nothing to do, because Dino Land has been completely closed, I think, at this point, and the Bugs Life show has been closed, all making way for Tropical Americas and the new Zootopia show, which I'm sure will be amazing when they open. But as of right now, there's like Pandora, there's Cali River Rapids, there's the Kilimanjaro safaris, and there's like a couple of other like things here and there, but there's just really not a lot to do right now. And additionally, Disney's expensive. Like, I'm not brain dead, I'm not delusional about that fact. And the hours of Animal Kingdom are so much shorter than the other parks, where the park ticket isn't really cheaper. So that's just my 2 cents on that. It is my least favorite. My favorite ride there is the Kilimanjaro Safaris. I think it is so fun. I will admit that it's amazing. It's the park that's the smallest with the least to do, but it is also the biggest park size-wise because of how big the safari is. And I love seeing rhinos. Rhinos are my second favorite animal, and I pretty much always see them. And I've seen baby rhinos, and they're so cute. And every time you go on the safari, you do learn different things and you see different creatures, which I think is super fun. So I do love the safari. The only sit-down restaurant I have ever eaten at Animal Kingdom is Yak and Yeti, which I don't even think is owned by Disney. I think it's like owned by a third-party company. It's like fine. And snack-wise, I literally have been there so few times that I don't really have an option, but I do know that a couple of cool things about Animal Kingdom is at the Starbucks location, they have a specific coffee. It's like the white something something, and if you order it, proceeds get donated to this certain type of monkeys conservation. And then whenever you make a purchase at Animal Kingdom, you can donate to the conservation project, and they match all donations, which I think is pretty cool. Then flip-flopped in the middle, depending on the day, is Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and it typically depends on what festival is going on at Epcot to determine if it goes second or third. But I think we're gonna say if no festival is going on, then it goes third and Hollywood Studios is second. So we'll go for Hollywood Studios next. I am a big Star Wars fan, so that is a big draw as to why I really love Hollywood Studios, because Galaxy's Edge literally feels like you're stepping into a film set for the Star Wars films, which I think is crazy. And it does have one of my second favorite ride in all of Disney World, which is Tower of Terror. If I remember, I will pop up some pictures of me and Andrea on Tower of Terror. Maybe if I have one of me and Chris, and me and my sister will pop them all up here. It's always hilarious. It's a drop ride, which I love, and I think that's super fun. And I love the Rock and Roller Coaster. It does give me a headache, but I do like it. It is home to my favorite show in Disney World, which is the Frozen Sing-Along. There are these two narrators that tell you the history of Arendelle, making tons of hilarious jokes, and then you sing along to the different songs. I do wish that they would do like, because it's the same show every hour. I wish it would be like Frozen 1, Frozen 2, Frozen 1, Frozen 2, just because I love the songs of Frozen 2. But yeah, I love Rise of the Resistance. Is literally amazing. It is mesmerizing if you're a Star Wars fan. And Toy Story Land is also just so freaking cute, which brings me to my favorite quick service food in Hollywood Studios. Would have to go to the Woody's Lunchbox, which I get the grilled cheese sandwich and tater tots and tomato soup, and it's so yummy. And then I actually don't think I've eaten at any sit-down restaurant there besides the Derby Lounge, and I got the famous Cobb salad, and I thought it was absolutely repulsive. Me and Andrea still to this day talk about how gross that salad was. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think most of the sit-down restaurants I personally have dined at are at the resorts. So if you want more info on that, again, let me know, and we could even do a whole video on it, simply on my thoughts and feelings on Disney things. And then finally, third place would be Epcot. I do love a lot of things about Epcot. I love the ride in the mall, which is Spaceship Earth. I love Living with the Land, which you go through the greenhouses, and there's like little plaques up telling you like what dishes these items are used in. It's very interesting. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. That's in my top 3 favorite rides at Disney World. It's super fun, and I do love the idea. I love the festivals. Food and Wine and Flower and Garden are my 2 favorites. I don't really care too much about Festival of the Arts, and I've never been to Festival of the Holidays. But I want to like the festivals more than I do. Basically, it's like a bunch of extra, they have like the staple countries in Epcot, and then they add more in for all these festivals, and there's food and drinks, smaller portions to try. I am just such a picky person that it never really works out for me. But that's just my unfortunate news of life. But my favorite like quick service snacky thing at Epcot would probably be at Flower and Garden, the Violet Lemonade. It's so yummy. And then my favorite sit-down restaurant is Akershus, which is the restaurant in Norway. It's a princess dining, and their breakfast is so yummy. So I talked about that for 10 minutes. We're gonna need to pick up the pace. Marissa also asked, what Disney parks have I visited and which do I want to visit the most? I have only been to Disney World in Florida like a bazillion times, and I've been to Disneyland Paris. Chris and I went on a trip to England and France in 2019. And we did go to Disneyland Paris for a day, but I feel like I didn't really properly experience it. But like, I have pictures there, I was there. But I would love to go to all Disney parks. Like, if I had the money and all the money in the world, that's what I would be doing. But I do think that like my top priorities are like the Asian parks. I'd love to go to Tokyo Disney, and I'd love to go to Hong Kong or Shanghai. They all just like seem amazing, honestly. But I just, I don't got that kind of money. So here we are. Laura from Laura Marie Plans, we're switching gears here. She asked me, what is my favorite low-key duet two-person games to play? So there are tons of games that are designed that are just simply a two-player game, and I do like quite a few of them. Azul Duel is a super fun like tile placement puzzly type game, which I really, really love, as well as Seven Wonders has a two-person duel version, and that's also super fun. Some other ones that like I just like to play at two people that are more low-key, there is this imported game from Japan called Photograph that's really fun at two people. I love most roll and writes at two people. There's the like That's Really Clever, I think is like the like grouping of games. They have like 4 or 5 different ones. They're all roll and writes. Basically you roll dice, and based on the outcome of the dice you do different things, create different combos. Super fun at two people. There are a lot of heavier hard games that I prefer at two people because they're just way too long with bigger game groups. There's also this game it's so stupid. It's called Fog of Love, but I do think it is funny, and it's almost like it's like a relationship simulator. You can either play as 2 women, 2 men, 1 of each, whatever, non-binary, whatever you plan on being, and you like have this fake relationship and you just like play it through and see how it goes. That's like it's a 2-person only game that's pretty funny. Just makes me like LOL. But yeah, I like the game Sea Salt and Paper. It's a pretty quick, easy little card game that's super fun at two people. A lot of the games that I do play at two people though tend to be more difficult games because of like the time constraint. Also, Forest Shuffle is one of my favorite games. That one plays super good at two people. You're basically building out a forest, and it's really cute. Next up, we have some questions from Casey, Plans, and Pages. First one is, what is your small business work schedule like? Do you stack tasks or time block, etc.? Listen, it's chaos over here, okay? And this is something that I don't have like a very like strict, this is my work schedule, because things are very like, 1 week will be really busy, 1 week will be very slow. Right now I'm working on sale orders, so things are kind of chaotic. I'm also planning on going out of town in 2 weeks, like, you know, so it just really depends. I would say on a typical week in my life would be Mondays are typically like my get shit done days. Chris and I run our errands, we get groceries. I will usually make myself something for lunch that preps it for the rest of the week's lunches. Currently I am on a taco salad kick, so on Monday I will like make the taco meat and have a salad that day, and then all of like the toppings will be prepared so that while I'm working in the later days, I will easily be able to just heat up the chicken and throw it all together. And then Mondays, I typically on like a regular week is when I will print all of the open orders and like go through them, do journaling cards, pull foil, do all of like the stuff for the orders that isn't working on them. If it happens to be a busy, super busy week and I'm not able to get all of that done on Monday, it'll roll into Tuesday. And then I typically will work, it depends on what I really have going on. Like the past like couple months or so, Andrea and I have been hanging out, like having like a girls' day, maybe I would say on average every other Thursday. So if that's the case, I take all of Thursday off and I don't work, and then the rest of the days, so that would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I will work on orders. Usually I try to not work super late. Again, it just depends on what's going on. But I will typically work like in the morning when I get up till like 5 or 6 o'clock and then relax for the evening. But like right now it's just not an option. Like currently I'm working like from the time I get up until the time Chris gets home from work. So typically like 12 or 13 hour days. But I try to not do that because I know like that's very toxic and it does lead to burnout. And then Fridays we do have game night typically at 8 o'clock. So I will work until it is time to get ready to leave. And then I also, like, say I'm working and it's like Saturday night and it's like 6 o'clock when I would want to be done working, but I only have like 5 orders left, I will just finish them so that I can then have a whole additional day off. I try to take 1 full day off a week, but it does not always happen, if I'm being so honest with you. That's kind of how it goes, honestly. And she also asked if I had to just use one foil for every kit pairing, what would I choose? This is hard. Oh man. Okay, I think hollow is what I'm gonna go with. Just regular hollow, because I feel like because it has so many colors like in the shininess of it, it would match a lot of things. It matches bright colored kits, it matches pastel colored kits. It tends to match a lot of like holiday wintry kits. It tends to go with a lot of Halloween kits, a lot of pop culture kits. I'd be really screwed the pooch at Christmas time because it does. The battery died. But yeah, I think it would have to be hollow, just regular hollow. I think it would just go with the, it's like the most universal to me personally. Because I also, if there's ever a time where I would use silver, I just use hollow anyway. So that's like a really mean question though. E_A_Precious Elizabeth asked me, what Disney Cruise Line ship and itinerary is the couples trip doing? I'm Disney Cruise Line obsessed right now. So me, Chris, Andrea, and Nick are going on a Disney cruise together. Basically, last week I was at Andrea's house and she's like, yes, like me and Nick are gonna go on a Disney cruise without the kids. Because there are cruises that leave out of Texas. And I'm like, oh really? And she's telling me about it. She's telling me the price and I'm like, and it includes your food? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, that's pretty cheap. And I'm like, maybe Chris and I should just like come. And she's like, honestly, like I was thinking the same thing. Because I personally have no interest in going on a cruise. This is me being really, 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 really brave. But Chris has always wanted to go on a cruise. We always joke that me and Andrea are gonna go on a cruise together, and Chris gets like really sad, like, oh, you go on with Andrea, but not me. So like, this is the best of both worlds, simply. So I don't really know the itinerary, if I'm being honest with you, because I didn't like super plan this. I can pull up the app. I didn't plan it. Andrea planned like this. She sent me the screenshot of which one to book, okay? And I booked it. But it's like a 4-night cruise. I think it goes to Mexico. And it has like the Marvel Day at Sea, which is pretty cool. I don't like super off the top of my head know the like itinerary. Blue Rum asked, what was my high school experience like? Bad. It was bad. I did not have really any friends in high school. It's not that I didn't have friends. I feel like that sounds like very woe is me. But basically, middle school was fine. I had actually kind of a lot of friends in middle school. And then the way my high school, I went to Liverpool High School, is the 9th grade, because high school was 9th through 12th grade. So my freshman year, the 9th graders are in a separate building than the high schoolers, because like the school, like there's just too many kids in the school district. They don't all fit in the high school, even though the high school is 3 floors, and we still did not all fit. I graduated with almost 1,000 people. So 9th grade kind of felt like an extension of middle school, especially because the 9th grade is attached to an elementary school. Oh, I'm so self-conscious of how I say that. And it's the one that I went to, the elementary school that I attended. So it felt very like an extension of middle school. And in 9th grade, I reconnected. I had a really good friend. His name was Tyler. No bad blood. We just kind of grew apart. And we had a lot of classes together. 9th grade was pretty fine. And then moving into regular high school, which was grades 10 through 12, I was pretty close. I had my cousin that I went to school. My cousin was in the same grade as me. So we were obviously like pretty close. And then I was friends with this one girl who I now like actually despise. A couple of them, let's be honest. And then I was also pretty good friends with a girl named Haley. There's no beef there. Again, we just kind of like very different vibes of people. You know, me and Haley had been friends since like the 3rd grade. We lived in the same neighborhood, but we just like had very different interests. So no real issues there. but I just like didn't have a super big group of friends. In ninth grade, I had like a couple of like little boyfriends here and there that lasted like a couple of months. And in 10th grade, I believe I was dating this other guy named Chris. And so like I mainly like hung out with him, and I had like a really good friend named Rosa in high school. She moved to Florida though, so we don't really talk, but if I do see posts from her, I do like them. No like bad blood there. I was a really good student. When I went into my senior year of high school, I already had enough credits to graduate before I even like started the year. I just needed to take essentially my mandatory classes, which was pretty nice. And then I did have my friend Cassidy, I've been friends with since kindergarten. I had a good friend named Lindsay. I'm not friends with literally any of these people anymore. I don't talk to, I think, a single person from high school besides my friends Mike and my friend Marcos. Otherwise, I don't talk to anybody that I went to school with anymore. Ugh, if I'm being really honest with you. But like, I was really good at math, I was really good at science, I was really good at tech. I was in like a college level like tech class called High Tech with a Human Touch, but all of my teachers were really creepy. Like would make really creepy comments to me, and I'd always be like one of 2 girls in the class, and so I quit that because I was done feeling uncomfortable. Yeah, but that was pretty much it. And then in 11th grade, I started dating like my first like more serious boyfriend. His name was Brandon, and like that's how I met one of my best friends, Kieran, and my other best friend, Caitlin, was through him, because Caitlin is married to his cousin now. It's like a whole thing. And so at that point, he was a couple of years older than me. I was mainly hanging out with him and his friends, who are now like literally, this was 2011 and now it's 2025. So 14 years later, I'm still friends with these people. That's who I really like hung out with and who I was really friends with. But yeah, like I went to prom. Pop up some pictures. I skipped my senior ball because I didn't think prom was very fun, and I was working part-time at a Hallmark store for most of my like high school experience, but it was just very There was like, I feel like this sounds so dramatic, but like my senior year, the way lunch periods worked at my school was you either had first lunch, second lunch, or third lunch, and I had third lunch my senior year on BD days because we had block scheduling, and I did not have a single friend. And like I sat by myself in lunch. So high school is pretty shit. I would not ever, you could not, like Chris is like, I'd go back to high school right now. I loved it. And I'm like, you could not pay me to go back there. Next we have got Mandy Lee 810 said, how did you decide to start Plannahannah? So I started Plannahannah during the pandemic. I started in July 2020. Basically, I bought a silhouette to make like printable kits because times were tough. Chris at that time was working in the food service industry, so he was out of work for a lot of COVID. And so I was like, oh, I'll like get this, and like, yeah, it's an investment, but then like I can do printable kits. And then, you know, I started making scripts for myself, and I was like, you know, like at that, Etsy has really changed a lot, and like their fees now are like really wild, but at that time I was like, well, I can just list like a couple of things and see if they sell. And so I started that, and things went pretty good. And yeah, I don't know, I just honestly, like, it's one of those things where like I do work very hard, and I will not like cut myself short there. Like I bust my ass, but like a good portion of it is also just like luck. So, and like, yeah, but yeah, my first release went pretty well, and I was pretty happy about it. And then just slowly it started to go better and better, and I became more friends with people in the planner world. Like now a lot of my closest friends I've met through planning. Like Andrea's one of my best friends, my friend Madison's one of my best friends, my friend Emily, and then like, I mean, my friend Christy recently passed away, but I did meet her through planning. Like all of my like closest friends and the people I talk to daily, I met through planning. And so like, I think just really has been just amazing to me. Kirsten, she's amazing. Like I just have met so many good people. And then that was July 2020. And then May 2021, my uncle passed away on my dad's side of my family. And this may sound so dramatic. So listen, I worked payroll for like from 2015 to 2021. And the situation was not great, especially during COVID. There was 3 of us in the department, my manager, my friend Liz, and me. And I was the one who was stuck being in the office. So, because I didn't have kids, like I understood why they were the ones who were working from home because their kids were home and they had to be with that, which was fine, but a lot kind of fell on my shoulders and I was making more money on stickers than I was there. And so at that point I was kind of felt like I was just there to be nice to them because like I could handle doing both and I didn't want to screw anybody over. But then my uncle died, and at this point my friend Liz had like, I think she had a different job. She left. We're still friends. Love her. And my manager was back in the office. Everything was fine. And my uncle died, and I asked my manager, I was like, hey, so like my uncle passed away. Is it cool if I take bereavement days Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Mind you, in my 40-hour work week, I had maybe 8 hours of work, and all of it was done by like Wednesday. So she would have like 1 day worth of my work to do. And she was like, yeah, absolutely no problem, just submit it. So she had to like sign a paper to approve it, and then I sent it over to the lady who handled like our time cards. And this bitch messaged me and was like, an uncle is not an immediate family member, so you're not supposed to use bereavement for this. But since your manager already approved it, I guess I'll let you take it. And I was literally like, don't pay me then. Like, I don't really know what to tell you. Like, I'm telling you I'm not gonna be here. So then I was so mad that I took those days off, and that following Monday I handed in my 2-week notice because I thought that was absolutely bullshit, and I still do, and I stand by it, period. My friend Madison said if I could exist in any Disney universe, what would it be? Ooh. Okay, so my favorite Disney movies is Frozen, but I don't want to live there because the cold does in fact bother me, I must admit. The Little Mermaid, I don't like water, so I don't really want to live there. Coco, I don't like super want to be like living in that world either. It's not like very my vibes. Maybe honestly just like straight up Cinderella. I feel like that's such a basic answer, but like let me in the palace, baby. Like, oh no, you guys, Beauty and the Beast, because Belle has the most kick-ass library there ever was. Obviously Beauty and the Beast. I can't believe it took me that long to get there. And then the last 4 questions are from Nordic Paper Mouse. The first one is, times are tough. Have you considered going back to a 9-to-5 job? Times are tough. So if you're in a position that you can support small businesses, not just mine, but like any small business, any opportunity you have, I totally understand that like it's not possible all the time to support small businesses. But if you're in a place where you can support a small business, do it, because times are tough. I have not considered going back to a 9-to-5, but Chris did get a job. You know what I mean? Like for the past since 2021, Chris and I have just worked together doing Plan a Hannah, and he would help me with orders. But it made more sense. Like I already have so much responsibility, and because everything is so uncertain, because like some weeks are amazing, some weeks are great, but then it'll be like 3 really bad weeks in a row, and then I spiral. And it's just like it got to a point where I was just like, my mental health is so bad because of the stress of the uncertainty. And as somebody who grew up with like a lot of uncertainty and a lot of like feeling like insecure, the idea of that was just really giving me like making my mental health really, really bad. And so Chris was like, I'll get a job, it's no big deal. And he got a job, and I have felt probably 80% less stressed since then, which has been honestly life-changing. Next, she said foil tier video. I can do that. I will do that. I'm not gonna do that right now, obviously, but I will tell you, like, I have like over 100 foils in the shop. My top foils are Pixie Rose, forever and ever, love her. I love Pink Waves. I love Silver Stars. I love Gold Hollow. And right now I'm like really vibing with Dots, probably just because it's new, but I do love her. And then some of my least favorite foils colors are, I don't like any of the matte colors. Like I do not like matte bronze, I do not like matte silver, I do not like matte gold, I do not like pearl. I don't really like any of the matte colors. Once in a blue moon I will use them because like the vibes are right, but they're just boring. And I want my foil to be shiny. The only matte colors that I'm like super obsessed with is olive and ice. I do really like those and use those quite a bit, but that's just my truth. She also asked, what's my favorite dessert in a restaurant? Warm chocolate chip cookie with vanilla ice cream. Chocolate chip cookie a la mode is my favorite dessert at a restaurant, hands down. I'm also a big fan of a brownie a la mode. I will admit, both of those down the hatch. I can't really think of, we don't tend to get dessert at restaurants because Chris is not like a big dessert person. I like my cheesecake. But I feel like I make such a good cheesecake that I don't really like cheesecake from out very often. But I think if I'm looking at a menu, it's usually gonna be the warm chocolate chip cookie. And then her final question is how is Chris liking his new job? He is, it's like a love-hate, I think. He enjoys it enough. He likes it. He doesn't have to deal with anybody. It's just really hot in Texas. And like, even though like he's in his vehicle driving and the AC is on, it's so much of being out of the vehicle. He's lost a ton of weight, which he's been really happy about. So there's that aspect. But he's currently trying to switch from being a driver to working in dispatch, which he says he would like better because instead of it being 4 10-hour days, it's 5 8-hour days, and it's indoors. Me personally, I don't ever want to be like, when you're working in dispatch, from what like he's told me, it's like people call you with their problems all day, and that sounds like torture to me. But if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. And that is everything. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.